Your dirty trash can is susceptible to harboring dangerous bacteria. Contact Brandon at Fitz Trash Bin Cleaning today at 440-752-1533 or find them on Facebook. Veteran owned and operated and eco-friendly. Again, call Brandon at 440-752-1533.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth. I
Bring
am
Ronnie
Mel.
in.
Joining me as always is Ronnie Big Smooth Hennigan. Smooth, what's up, man?
Wait for Smooth to be
Not
here.
a whole lot, Mel. You know how I do. What's going on with you, bro?
Oh, turn the media back up because we need to have Smooth.
Yeah, because can't have a big guy
Yeah.
can't have a big guy looking.
I think we can hear you now.
All right.
Hey!
Yeah, I'm doing good, Mel. Everything's cool, brother. How are you?
I'm a little tired, but that's day-to-day operations thing. But we gonna get that situated. Joining us today is one of our former producers, now station manager from Money's Crazy Mind, Lee Money. He's here to join us today for a spell. Lee, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. But I'm here for another reason too.
Oh yeah, what's that?
So we do end of the month awards every month here at Redline Radio. And, I've been a little busy with the CRS Truck Series because Redline is doing some stuff with that. Obviously, running the day-to-day operations of the radio station and everything.
Right.
Training our producer, Nick, over there that's running the board for us today.
Right.
But 4th and 15, out of every show that is recorded here live in the Growing Wings Adult Services studios, was the best in show at
Really?
Studio 2, and you guys racked up 3,268 views last month.
Don't play with
Nice.
me. I'm too
All
serious.
right.
So congratulations, Mel and Smooth. Here's your certificate.
Oh man.
Appreciate
All
that.
right. We would like to thank all the little people we had to step on to get here.
Ronnie, we got one for you too. I'll make sure Mel gets it down to you, man.
I appreciate that, y'all. Thank you very much.
This is almost as good as the silk drawers and the red tie. We appreciate that very much.
Oh yeah,
man.
no problem, guys.
First the station, next thing is the world. We getting Jason Whitlock off the air, I promise you. But before we get started, this portion of the show is brought to you in parts by Detroit Auto. They are the official auto parts store of Redline Radio. You can call the east side or the west side. Call the east side number of 216-531-7373 or the west side number at 216-398-7373. Okay, for those that have been watching and for those that have been keeping track in the NBA, the Sixers blew it.
Man.
There is no other way to say this. The Sixers blew it. Miami beats the brakes off of them for the last two games. And from what I understand, because I didn't watch the last game, after I saw the first game where they got beat on, I was like, all right, you know what? They either going to come back from this, James Harden going to stop fucking around, and it's going to look like something, or it's going to be the Heat in the conference finals.
Yeah, I was actually guest hosting a show about Philly sports here on Redline for Broad Street South. And they had like a ticker on the screen that was showing the score and everything. And I'm just like, wow.
And here's the thing, because I looked up at the stats. James Harden was 0 for 2 in the second half.
Yep.
How the fuck does that happen?
Here's another one for you. James Harden only had 11 points and played 43 minutes.
Why the fuck you play half the game and only get 11 points?
Right.
Hey, wait, before we get started, I know Miami got a decent defense, but that defense ain't that damn good.
No.
There's no Michael Jordan. There's no who is that? There's no Scottie Pippen. There's no Luke Longley on the defense. It ain't Phil Jackson, that head coach. It's Eric Spoelstra. No offense to Eric, but you ain't Phil. But at the same time, that's not a top 10 defense. That was a top 15 at best. How the hell do you, as James Harden, not score in the second half? What the hell happened?
Well, didn't one of their, I can't remember who it was, but one of their players got taken out right before the half too when he left in an ambulance.
Well, that's one thing. Losing a player to injury is one thing.
Yeah.
Losing the player who's on the court, not scoring, is something totally different. Like,
especially you're one of your top players.
Right.
Exactly.
You traded for him.
You traded for him, yeah.
You traded for him and Embiid to play together. What makes it even worse, Smooth, I sent this to you, but I don't know if you've seen it yet. There's a video on YouTube by, I hope I get this right. Please, if I get it right, I apologize, but RCD World or somebody like something close to that. They usually are the ones that's making fun of what happened after basketball games. Like LeBron after Kyrie gets traded.
Okay.
So this particular video is Doc Rivers in the locker room talking to James Harden after the game. And he's like, James Harden, what happened? You went 0 for 2 in the second half. How does that work? What happened? Are you scared of the ball? Is the hoop scared of you? What's going on? I was asking the same thing because I'm trying to figure out. I suck at basketball. All right. I tell you, my lifetime average in basketball was 6 points, maybe 1 rebound. That's it.
You actually scored points?
Yes.
Damn, I can't even.
I can make a layup. If you asking me to give you Eric Snow defense, I got you. If you asking me to turn into Kobe, it's not gonna happen.
See, that's why I play football, because it's so much easier to hit people.
I mean, basketball was the first sport I learned how to play. So because that was the first sport I learned how to play, I wanted to make sure I knew I could make it.
I get that.
Unfortunately, when I got to high school, our high school basketball coach brought me to back to reality and let me know how fucking short I really was. Considering how every fucking team he built the whole time he was in high school was over 6'3". So that should tell you something.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I actually got the same story from me.
Nigga, you wasn't short.
But here's the thing, though. I played center my whole life, and I get to high school, and I'm 6'1", and, trying to be a center at 6'1" in the varsity team, no.
Well,
this guy was like 6'6", 6'7".
We already had a center. He was 7 foot. Like, shout out to Tracy Hardis, too.
Yeah. So they're like, you can play football. Okay. He
was a legit 7 foot kid. He was the only 7 foot kid in school, but still, for him, for you, but it was a dramatic height difference between you and him. Like, I'm sorry to say it, but for me, that just brought me back to reality. And then football tryouts was like right around the corner, so I said, "Fuck y'all, I'm gonna play football."
Hey,
all right. With that, the Heat are in the conference finals. They're waiting on whoever is the winner between Milwaukee and Boston. I honestly believe it may be Boston because Boston's been playing tough, even from behind, they've been playing tough. So, Ronnie, my question to you is: do the Bucks, with the series tied 3-3, do the Bucks straighten up and defend the title, or make a play to defend the title, or is this Boston turning back into Boston of the Big Three?
I honestly feel like Boston would have the edge, but slightly, right? I don't expect a blowout or anything like that. I think for me, what makes me wonder what's going to happen is what version of Giannis are you going to get? That's the first question. And then secondly, with the Celtics, Tatum is in his own league. Like, that dude can do whatever he wants to do on the court. And between him and Jaylen Brown and Smart, like, that's just hard to stop those guys. I mean, that's their big three, right? So the thing is, having them out there is like, what do you do? Because they can play pretty much at any level of the court, which is very, very hard to stop. And, Giannis is hot and cold. Like, there's certain games where he'll go off, maybe he'll score like 40, 50, whatever. And then other games where he can't find his shot. And primarily it's just, points in the paint. But Boston does well to slow teams down in the paint. So, like, I feel like it could go either way, but I think that Boston may have the edge this year. I don't see the Bucks repeating, to be honest, even if they made it.
You know what? I was with you up until you picked Boston. I really think it's not. Before you start laughing, it's not that Boston can't handle it, but I'm sick of Boston.
Yeah.
Let it be another team. For all of those watching, this is why you hear ESPN, ABC, Fox Sports. This is why you hear those announcers say, I'm glad there's parity. What they mean by that is they're glad it's not the same fucking teams that you see over and over again.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I want the Bucks to repeat. The Bucks hadn't won in 50 fucking years. Okay, the Suns have never won. The Suns had one of the best fucking teams in the 90s. They had Marley. They had KJ, Barkley. They couldn't fucking get over the hump with Jordan, and they sometimes couldn't get over the hump with the Rockets or the Spurs.
Yep.
Okay, now they have a chance if Chris Paul could stop fucking around. And they're struggling with the Mavericks. I would love to see a rematch, honestly. A Bucks-Suns rematch where the Suns actually do what they were supposed to do the first time to win, but Bucks had a better interior game. I can't be mad at that. So, I want Milwaukee to win.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I want Milwaukee to win is because I think this would solidify them as a powerhouse team. Like you see the teams, you saw Golden State win that first one, and everybody was like, all right, when you got three-point shooters that can shoot from fucking Sacramento to Oregon, it makes sense. And then when they came back into the next season, you were like, can they do it again?
Mm-hmm.
And they saw the Cavs in 2016, but they didn't make it. But then they came back the next year, saw the Cavs again, and beat the brakes off of them. So in the 3-year span, 2 out of 3, that's not bad, and it solidified them as a powerhouse team.
I believe Meatloaf said that in 1978, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
He was talking about something else.
Oh, I know.
He was talking about something else without letting the kids know. See,
exactly.
These songs nowadays, but I just would like to see Milwaukee turn into that powerhouse team. Will it happen? I don't know. But that would be the parity in the NBA that you would need, because for the last, I'd say 7 years, it's been the West. And the Eastern Conference team wins it again, and it's not your normal Eastern Conference team. It's not Boston, Miami, New York. We ain't seen New York in a while, but it's not Boston, Miami, or Chicago. So, yeah, it makes sense. I want to see a different team become a powerhouse in the East.
Yeah, do you think that 2016 win that the Cavs got, do you think that they just got lucky with the way that the chips fell at the end of that game?
No. Because if you look at the 2015 finals.
It was close then, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then if you look at the 2014 finals, if Kyrie and Kevin Love don't get hurt in succession,
yep,
we're not even talking about this. Cavs have 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
I say two at the bare minimum, but 3 if it really came down to it.
Yeah.
Let's think about that. The ugly long-haired sunshine-looking dude pulls out Kevin Love's shoulder in the middle of a game, and it's on the newspaper. It's the front page of the sports section. I'll never forget it. He pulls his shoulder out in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm. Kyrie
goes down in what, game 2?
Mm-hmm.
With a busted knee? Honestly, think about that. That's Kevin Love is still in his prime at that point.
Somebody was actually on Cleveland radio, nonetheless, was actually making an argument the other day that if Draymond Green hadn't got suspended for the uppercut to the no section, that he would have, if he had been playing that game, that it would have been a completely different result.
It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered. Draymond's mouth
Gets him in trouble.
But I was gonna say for a TV purpose. It's exciting. You're not guarding Ron. You personally were not going to guard him. Y'all had to pull Iguodala off the bench to even, get in LeBron's face. And LeBron still scored 30 points.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're asking me if 2014 doesn't play out the way it does, we are seeing the Cavs be a powerhouse team. I think LeBron's still here, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the way things played out, okay, fine. He's not here. We got one. We'll take it. When it comes to these type of scenarios, look at it. It took Clay 2 years to come back off an Achilles.
Yeah.
And they were never the same.
No,
they weren't.
Those last 2 years, they were never the same. They didn't even make it out of 1 year. They didn't make it out of the second round. The next year, they made it to the conference finals, but got beat by the Suns, if I'm not mistaken. So, to be honest, I don't know how Ronnie feels about that, but that 2016 was telling because that was years of buildup. 2014, 2015, 2016, that's a trifecta that you've seen the same team. And each time you saw the same team, some bullshit happened. Literally. First time, you lose your star power forward, you lose your star point guard in successive series, and you lose. The second year, it's competitive, but you still lose because you couldn't figure it out. Third year, you're sick of that shit. You know what to expect now.
Especially when they opened the champagne in your locker room in your house and won the title in your house.
Oh man,
that's
almost as bad as jumping on somebody's logo in the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
Jew.
He's in Kansas City now.
I am so glad he's not a Steeler anymore. I can tell you that.
He's in fucking Kansas City now. Who cares?
So you think it's going to be Bucks Suns repeat in the finals?
Well, truth be told, if Golden State wins 4-2 over the Grizzlies, whoever wins between the Suns and Mavericks gonna have their hands full.
Mm-hmm.
Period. And it's looking like, I hope it'll be the Suns, but the Mavericks have been playing tough. So it's a toss-up. To me, it's really a toss-up. What Suns team are we going to see? Are we going to see a Chris?
Right.
Are we going to see Chris Paul, like serious Chris Paul? And I'm not saying he ain't serious, but like Tim said last week, let's look at his body of work. Yeah. Everywhere he's been, he's gotten there, but he hasn't gotten over the hump.
Exactly.
So if he gets over the hump against the Mavericks, makes it to the finals, I'm going to give the edge to the Suns. But if they squeak out of this, I'm going with Golden State. And I don't even like Golden State. I ain't like Golden State since Mr. Cooper was still on the team. So we will see what Chris Paul shows up.
I haven't liked Golden State since Danny Tanner was calling their games.
Damn, I forgot all about that.
The last time I liked Golden State was when they had Latrell Sprewell.
Oh, that's when he was choking motherfuckers back then.
Yeah, that made it exciting.
Sprewell! Just choking me. I was like, damn, we're out here choking coaches?
I mean, I don't follow basketball, and I know I've said that on here before, but I mean, it's hard to stay away from, the news about the finals and everything, because obviously it's a hot button topic right now. And, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing the Suns go back, but I mean, it all depends on, like you said, Golden State and the Mavs and everything else. But I mean, out of the East, I don't know.
I got the Heat, man.
Yeah, it's got to be the Heat.
Because the reason I'm saying the Heat is because they are not playing like they are. They're not playing with fear.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing like they ain't got nothing to lose.
And they don't.
They don't. So if you're playing like you ain't got nothing to lose, you are very dangerous.
And think about it like this. I mean, like some of the teams that we're seeing that are making their way back into the finals are teams that LeBron used to be on. You know, we got the Heat that are making it back into the finals. The Cavs were that close to making it to the playoffs.
That's a playoff. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. That's a playoff game.
It was.
Anything that plays after the last game of the regular season is a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
You just happen to be cursed playing two better bad teams.
And having
and that's the crazy part. None of the teams in the East were bad.
No.
Outside of New York, Charlotte, you know,
they were also plagued by a lot of injuries with a lot of key players.
And that's what I was telling people earlier. If we as Cavs fans, if we don't see them get hurt successively, the Cavs are in fourth place and possibly win the division.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure.
And that was the talk leading into those playing games, and then all of a sudden,
and we won't even if that doesn't happen. Yeah,
injury.
And it wasn't to nobody on the bench. It was everybody that was starting.
Yeah, it was all your starters.
It was all the starters. Yeah. Allen, Mobley, Sexton. Let any of them stay healthy. 2 out of the 4 that we just mentioned
would have gotten us in,
and we probably would have won the division because Chicago was not that good.
No.
Yeah, they fell apart toward the second half of the season.
Chicago, exactly. And who ends up winning? Milwaukee. How? Because Chicago let it go. Chicago
and we beat Milwaukee the majority of those games.
Exactly.
Yeah, we.
So there is no problem with us beating Milwaukee if we're healthy.
Yeah.
I promise you, if people stop playing a part in, and I'm not cussing at anybody, I'm not fussing. If people stop taking injuries for a joke in sports, you will understand how important it is to keep your starting rotation, your starters on offense, your starters on defense healthy. This is why load management is a big deal. I don't care what nobody say. LeBron is the best at it. That's why his fucking body is titanium by now. He's 36, 37 years old. Hasn't missed that many games. Notice he didn't miss that many games until he started playing out west.
Mm-hmm. Something in the air out there.
I'm in the water, maybe. I don't know.
Smog.
Yeah, LA smog. There you go.
So, all right. So, what do you think about this? Because I know we've kind of talked about it briefly. This is just a brief yes, no. If Gilbert is able to free up the money to bring him home for one final run, should he do it or not?
Yes. I'll explain why after we go around the table.
Ronnie?
For that, I would say yes. And to do that, because here's my thing, man. Like, it's something I talked about earlier in the season where when Sexton went down and just seeing how well they're doing without him, I kind of wonder when he comes back, like, is that going to make the team better or is it going to mess with the synergy a little bit? Reason why I say that is because think about when Kyrie was in Boston, right? Everybody thought that was going to be, you know, them having a leg up and being great. And as soon as he gets hurt, they find their identity. And they find when he comes back, it just messes the synergy up. Sometimes it's just like that, you know. I like Sexton, but I feel like if that happens, I don't know if having all of these people would work with LeBron. I feel like someone would have to go, and maybe it's him.
Hey, you know what?
So you'd be willing to give up Sexton to get Brown back?
Absolutely.
I wasn't even going to go there, but since you brought it up, that's a hell of a scenario. That's a hell of a scenario to think about, considering the Cavs are a different team with Sexton on the court.
Mm-hmm.
But in the back of my mind, I would like to see what Sexton and Garland look like on the same court.
That's true.
It maybe it's me being an evil genius, a mad scientist, whatever you want to call it. But go back 25, 30 years. Think about when Jordan got Pippen. You got the best tag team in basketball in the game. And then you got Mobley, you got Allen. That's 4 pieces right there that could scare you at any given time because all 4 of them are going to be on the court.
Mm-hmm.
If I get rid of Osman.
Really?
I can see that. I can see that too, for sure.
If you're asking me,
Yeah.
who do I want, LeBron or Osman? Bye, Osman.
Yeah, no. That's why I'd never heard that scenario before. So,
But because we haven't seen it, we have not seen Garland and Sexton on the court at the same time often.
Right.
That's true too.
So we don't know what that chemistry is really going to be like. It could be like Muggsy and Larry Johnson. It could be like Pippen and Jordan. Or it could just be Sexton and Garland. Whoever's got the ball in their hand, who's going to make the best move.
Yeah, Muggsy Bogues, that's a name I
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, but think about it. Those were good teams.
They were, yeah.
Like duos. Think about it. If you go back 30 years, I can think of 5 tag team duos on the court that actually gave you problems. Muggsy and Larry, Scotty and MJ, Stockton and Malone, Hakeem and Kenny the Jet Smith. And then when it came down to it, Duncan and Robinson. So let me see, before we start throwing away money, because that's essentially what you'd be doing if you got rid of Sexton. You'd be throwing away money because the market for a free agent player that's decent is not good. And if you trade him, you're going to want something back that nobody's going to want to give. So let me see, before we go any further, before we just start throwing players away, throwing money away, let me see what Garland and Sexton look like on the court together, and then I'll make my decision from there. But if you're asking me if the money was there for LeBron, I'd do it. Not only do I do it for publicity purposes, but Ronnie, me and you have talked about this. There is a small circle of thought that he may come back and either buy into the Cavs or
just buy the team altogether.
And this is where Bronny will start his career.
Yeah, and there is something to that too, and that's kind of, what I've been thinking about. I mean, for LeBron to come back, would it have to be that Dan Gilbert gives up control of the team and becomes a minority owner as instead of a majority?
I mean, he owns fucking mortgage companies. I don't think it really matters.
No, he owns a casino too. So
damn the casino, the mortgage is where it's at.
Right. But that was kind of my other thing too. We saw, back in 2016, in order to make that team that won the finals,
he paid that luxury tax.
He paid the luxury tax.
That luxury tax back there was a motherfucker.
So I mean, we know that if a guaranteed ring is in the future, he has no problem spending the money.
Yeah, and that was, and think about this: all 3 years, 14, 15, and 16, those were guaranteed finals appearances.
Yep.
Because nobody in the East was touching the Cavs.
Nope. No. And I think this team is good enough to get to the playoffs without LeBron, but I don't think they're good enough to win a title without LeBron.
And there's the thought that would be the other reason he comes back. If LA gets rid of him, because there is Phil Jackson.
A lot of scuttlebutt about that.
Man, Phil Jackson was just caught on record saying he would get rid of LeBron and keep Westbrook. So, yeah. I know you've been busy, but that one came out within like the last 2 days.
They're not happy with LeBron over there.
That hurts. Wow. Okay.
But what Lee just said is true. They're not happy with LeBron. They gutted the whole team. Everywhere he's went, this is also a true statement. Everywhere he's went, the team has either been gutted or reshaped. Think about it. Miami, it was already D Wade's team. They brought Bosh in. They brought Bosh in. They brought LeBron in. They gave up 2 star bench players. Well, not stars, but they were great bench players. Haslam stayed, and then Pat Riley had problems trying to run that team.
Yep,
too many egos.
And then he comes back to Cleveland. The team isn't gutted. The team's just bad. We got Kyrie, but we didn't have much else.
Speaking of Udonis Haslam, since he's still there at 41 years old, do you think he retires if they win this year?
If they win, he better. And then what else you got to play for?
I don't know. He's pulling a Vince Carter right now, the way it looked like. It's out there, It's like, all right, cool. Because he got titles. It's like, what else can you prove right now? I don't know why you're still Yeah, I don't get it, man. It means you can play great, but
unless you paying child support out the ass and you need
well,
that.
yeah, there's that. Yeah,
But at the same time, you still get a pension from the league.
Yeah. So one final NBA question from me. This was a topic that got brought up, and you kind of touched on it a little bit. What do you think the Nets do about Kyrie?
I wish I'd have fucking sent that picture of Kyrie looking at KD like I took the vaccine for this shit. What do they do about Kyrie?
Because scuttlebutt is there. They don't want him. That they're done with him because he's now a distraction to the team instead of a help. Especially now that all the vaccine stuff has been lifted.
Hey, to be fair, the fall apart was not all on him in the playoffs.
Oh, no. I'm not saying it was.
That was a team fucking fallout. Like, that team fell apart for no reason against the Heat.
Yeah.
They actually could have beat the Heat, and we're not even talking about the Heat right about now. But because you brought that up, I don't know. What do you do for a guy that nobody may want, Baker Mayfield, and you may not be able to get what you're asking for?
That's kind of my thing. I mean, and obviously I think with all the negative shit that he said about Cleveland over the years, he
ain't coming back. He gonna get jumped if he come back.
Right. That's what I was saying. Like, nobody in Cleveland wants him. He's probably not going to be able to go back to Boston because, he
they got a good thing in Boston. They won't fuck that up.
Yeah. But I mean, he essentially did the same thing to Boston after he left there. They're not a sports city. They didn't respect him, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he should just find the edge of the flat earth and just fall off of it, since that's what he thinks it is.
I mean, he got that Uncle Drew movie, and that was actually a decent movie. So, no shoes in the boom boom room.
I don't know. I mean, Ronnie, what do you think that the Nets should do with him? Because I mean, I agree 100% with Mel, man. I mean, there's not a team in the NFL that's going to want that or in the NBA that's going to want that drama.
That's why I did that Austin Powers Baker Mayfield. Yeah, because it's the same scenario. What do you do
with Baker?
What do you do with a guy nobody might want?
Yeah,
man, I'm kind of thinking in my head too, like, where would he even end up at? Who would even take the chance? Does he go across the street and go to the Knicks? Or, how does that work? I honestly don't even know at this point. I feel like there's so much negativity surrounding this dude. Like,
exactly,
nobody wants that in their locker room, in their organization, because it's going to overshadow whatever team it is or, who he tends to go to. That's going to be the biggest talk is, what's Kyrie going to do? What's going to happen? Everybody eyes on him, trying to see what's next, what he going to say. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I can't say I feel bad for the guy because he did all that. And he did it every team he was with. Mm-hmm. Every single team he was with, man. It's the same scenario every single time. No matter what the subject matter was.
And the thing that bothered me the most about that
I don't want to play with LeBron. Okay, well, bye.
No, it wasn't that he didn't want to play with LeBron. The story was LeBron would tell him how him and D-Wade would do things. And he had a problem with that because he's not D-Wade. Obviously, we get it. But at the same time,
D-Wade and LeBron won championships, motherfucker.
Two of them.
That and we don't have, and I'm pretty sure LeBron said this, we don't have to be me and D-Wade. We can be me and you, but we have to figure this out.
Yeah.
And when they had it figured out, like the games you saw, they had it figured out. It was fucking scary. Like if you're on the other team, you like, hey, we gonna have to either foul them or we gonna have to start a fight because that's the only reason, the only way they ain't.
One of them two.
One of them either get pulled or get hurt. Because look at the body of work, and I'm saying this from the time we got Kyrie to the time Kyrie left. When LeBron and him were on the court, you have to figure out as a coach, not even as a player, as a coach, you already know LeBron's the biggest threat. Who's the next best threat after him? It's Kyrie. Okay, who's the next biggest threat after him? Kevin Love. Mm-hmm. All right, Kevin Love ain't driving the paint. We already know that, so we ain't got to worry about him. Kyrie gonna drive the paint after he cross you over. LeBron is gonna bully you into the paint.
Yep.
And if he don't bully you into the paint, LeBron can shoot a three. So can Kyrie. So can Kevin Love.
Or they kick it back out to Kyrie to shoot.
There you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
So as a coach, these are problems.
Mhm.
This is shit you got to figure out. And when they had it, when LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love had it figured out, and they were all on the court at the same time, that was a problem for teams. That's why they were so good 2014, 2015, 2016, because they had it figured out. 2017 rolls around, it's a different story.
Mhm.
Kyrie done lost his fucking mind. LeBron's sick of Dan Gilbert. Kevin Love is old. Nothing against Kevin Love. He's just old.
I mean, but
In
he seems to be
basketball
doing a
years.
lot better now.
Yeah, because he doesn't have to do so much. When LeBron
Right.
left, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
That's
for
a lot
sure.
of fucking pressure.
You
That's
need-
like
I mean-
that's like Dave telling you, "Fuck this radio station. You can have it." What do you do? I'm not saying that to be funny, but like
Yeah.
that's a lot. That's a lot of shit you got to think about.
No, you ain't kidding, man.
And
I
when
mean,
LeBron left,
and trust me, that's a conversation that Dave and I have had.
And when LeBron
So-
left, that was all. Kevin was the only one from the championship team left.
Right. Exactly.
So he's like, shit, I got to carry the team. No, you really don't. You let the young dudes figure this out. You
Yeah.
just sit there,
Be a
tell
player
them,
coach.
yeah, hey, look, I know what you're thinking, but this is what you should have did. Don't do too much into this, or don't read too much into this. Just do it the way you would been taught, or you have been taught, and we'll
Mhm.
figure it out from there in the
Yeah.
film. He took it as LeBron's gone. I'm the only one here. All right, I got this. And that's not his role. That's never been his role. He was the man in Minnesota because Minnesota had a complete team around him. He had a point guard. He had a center. He had a shooting guard. Had a small forward. He didn't have to do much. But here it was a different scenario. So, you know, this one falls on Kyrie because this is shit that could have been avoided. It's not, at this point, your legacy was already cemented when you hit the three. When you hit the three in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
They got pictures of that at pizza shops. They got pictures of that all over ESPN. You know, Chris Broussard probably got 8 pictures of it. But
My wife's aunt has one.
there you go. There you go. But this was something you could have avoided.
Yeah.
Because now it's not even about the money. It's just your legacy on the line.
Exactly.
Like, when players talk about legacy, when coaches talk about legacy, even when ESPN brings up the word legacy, it's not about how much money you made or the championships. It's how
How'd
are
you
you
act?
going to leave the game?
Mhm.
And right about now,
With all the flat Earth bullshit and his attitude, and
you're
everything
leaving, and people are going to be on 30 for 30 talking about you was a piece of shit.
else. Mhm.
I hate to say that. I really do. But if this is how you're going to act with every team you've been with, it's gonna be a problem.
It's definitely a pattern because
Right.
you know, like we said, when he left Cleveland, it's all about LeBron, and I wanted to be the bigger star, and I couldn't play with LeBron. At least that's the narrative we were told. And then he goes to Boston, and he downs Boston. Now he's in New York, and he refused to get vaccinated, so he couldn't even play 90% of their schedule. Trouble seems to follow Kyrie Irving wherever he goes, and it sucks because he is a very talented player, and like you said, his legacy was cemented the second he hit that 3 in 2016.
But now it's looking like he's going to be on 30 for 30 as a piece of shit.
Yep, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think that's it for basketball for me. Ronnie, you
Yeah.
got anything else?
No, man, I'm good, man. I'm just excited to see, what happens in this next game. But like you said, it's a toss-up, man, on either side. So we'll see how it plays out, and we'll cover it.
I'm
So
hoping-
why do my Pittsburgh Maulers suck so bad, man?
Oh, glad you brought that up. So apparently the USFL is back in play after 30, 40, 50 long years of not playing, and Donald Trump only getting $1 out of the lawsuit from the original USFL.
But that dollar went on to make me the greatest POTUS of all time.
Didn't go on to make you shit. Stop it. He's a fucking scam artist. If I was a scam artist, I'd be a millionaire too. Shit.
I'm going to talk about you on Twitter now that Elon Musk owns it. My good friend Elon Musk.
You can talk about me on Twitter all the fuck you want. It's not gonna hurt my feelings.
Man.
All 8 original teams are back. The Generals out in Jersey, Philadelphia Stars, Michigan Panthers, Pittsburgh Maulers, Birmingham Stallions, New Orleans Breakers. I fucking don't understand their logo, but whatever.
It's
The Tampa Bay Band. The what?
It's a wave break.
What that?
So all right.
You know, black people don't swim in the ocean, so you gotta explain.
Okay, so when you surf, I'm explaining it from when you take a big giant piece of wood out into the ocean and you try to ride a wave. The part of the wave that you want to get is the break. That's where it curls.
Oh, so that shit that happened in Johnny Tsunami. Got you.
Yes.
All right. And we got the Tampa Bay Bandits and Houston Gamblers rounding out the bottom of the 8. Now, I saw this season going totally different after the first game. I'm not even going to lie to you. I honestly thought the way Houston's defense was going, Houston was going to fucking run this league. Clearly, I was wrong because they're at the bottom of the barrel in the South. And the Generals, believe it or not, the Generals in the North and Birmingham are the 2 best teams, well, 2 out of the 3 best teams in the league.
Birmingham's still undefeated.
Yeah, go figure. Well, they playing in Birmingham, so it's
I was about to say, wow, the home team's
the home team's playing at home. So
yeah,
they're the only team playing at home.
Right.
Home and away.
Yeah.
All right, you know what it is. We're just gonna wear the white jerseys, but we still here. This doesn't change anything. It doesn't.
We got to make Pittsburgh feel like they're at home.
To be honest, I am not a fan of New Orleans uniforms. Even though New Orleans is doing great, I'm not a fan of the uniform. I'm not a fan of the logo. Pittsburgh is just shit. Like, I honestly
ain't won a single game yet.
I thought Pittsburgh was going to be respectable. This is not the Pittsburgh team I thought was going to show up.
Right. I might have to pick a different USFL team, man. I only went with them because they were fucking, I'm a Steelers fan, and they're Pittsburgh.
This ain't it. This ain't
that, man.
I know. Honestly, I went with Houston, to be honest.
I'm feeling disrespected here, man.
I honestly thought Houston was going to, I'm just being honest, man. I thought Houston was going to run this league.
Yeah.
I really thought Houston was going to run this league.
They had a great team on paper.
And, yeah, on paper. They won the first game, come out the next 3 and get beat on. And it's like, gee, I don't know. The football is not necessarily sloppy. Just keep in mind, folks, these guys have not played in 2 years at best.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys have come from NFL camps. They've come from, straight out of college. So, and they only had 3 weeks to really get together and get these teams going.
Yeah. Aren't there some the AFLS or whatever that league that they were?
Oh, the AAF? Yeah, but again,
I'm not talking about the Arena Football League.
No, I know.
Yeah,
but at the same time, you still only had 3 weeks to really get a training camp in.
Exactly.
So, yes, the football is going to look sloppy.
And maybe some of these are also former XFL players that were in the 2020 season of the XFL.
There you go. But the football is still entertaining.
It always has been.
And watch, with all the fucking technological advancements that the USFL and the XFL are making, watch the NFL steal some more shit.
They're because they even took some stuff out of the 2020 season of the XFL.
They took some shit out of the 2001 XFL. Where the fuck you think that
Spider Camp?
Yeah, that Spider Camp. Where do you think that came from? That was XFL all day.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and the NFL admitted it. They're like, yeah, we saw some of the things that the XFL were doing. Yeah, we took them.
And
but Dick Ebersol also went back to the NFL for the NBC because they picked up the Sunday night games not too long after that too.
But it doesn't matter. You shouldn't be stealing from some shit. You don't even tell nobody. Hey man, I'm gonna take this. I just want you to know.
Hey pal, what do you think the chances are of suing the NFL for stealing all the things that I came up with?
It wouldn't even be worth it. It wouldn't be worth it.
Vince, this isn't the steroid case. We're not going to be able to cover this up.
You're
fired.
It still wouldn't be worth it. It still wouldn't be worth it.
No, it wouldn't be.
And and I think this is the biggest threat to the NFL because one, it's not just one league.
It's 2.
It's 2 coming.
Mm-hmm.
So you've already got one playing right now through the spring.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is coming and playing through the spring too. So there's a monopoly over the season that you don't even pay attention to.
Yep.
And the monopoly over a season that hasn't had a monopoly over it since the Arena League was up.
Yeah.
So think about that.
You know, and I gotta give The Rock and his ex-wife some credit, man, because the things that they're doing to get the XFL ready to go for next year, and the things that they've already announced, the coaches that they've announced, Heinz Ward, some of the other people that are jumping
Players who should be already coaching in the NFL.
Exactly. But I mean, you know, just a lot of the things that Dwayne and his ex-wife Danny are doing. You know, I gotta tell you, man, the XFL sounds like it's going to be the best version of the XFL we've gotten yet.
I don't know, man. The XFL version where He Hate Me was kind of good, man.
Oh, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I mean, I love.
Anytime you playing against a motherfucker named
He Hate Me. Yeah.
Who actually, ironically as well, played in the Super Bowl.
Well, we got Maddox.
Fuck that guy.
The Steelers had Maddox out of there. Yeah,
Fuck that guy.
I mean, fuck him. Yeah, I mean.
Well, you know what? Since we're on the talking football and the USFL and the XFL, I got a trivia question for those watching. I doubt anybody can get this right on the first try or without Googling it, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. Name 3 NFL Hall of Famers who played in the USFL.
Oh, shit.
I'm going to give you 3. I had 5 for the trivia question. It was supposed to be 5. But name 3 who played in the USFL.
I'll get back to you next week. Actually, I won't get back to you next week. Next week, I'm in a wedding. So,
you know what? I'll give the answer in the next after we come back from commercial in the next segment. But for that trivia question, 3 NFL Hall of Famers that played in the USFL. I know 2 off the top of my head.
So, looking at the standings the way they are right now.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, the Maulers ain't doing shit. The Gamblers ain't doing shit.
That's heartbreaking too, man. Because I really
how many game season is it?
I think it's an 8 or 12 game, 8 or 10, one of the two.
Because it looks like some teams have played 5 and some teams have only played 4.
There's some teams had a bye week.
Yeah,
some teams having a bye week. But
so I mean, the way that the standings are right now, do you think it's going to be the Generals in Birmingham?
It's looking like that.
Yeah.
It really is. But
Philly does have a chance to come back. They're 500 right now.
True.
It's Philly, man.
I understand it.
It's Philly. I'm not even basing it on the teams. I'm on the teams. I'm basing it on the city. It's Philly.
Yeah.
It's Philly.
But I mean, Birmingham's 4-0.
The curse of Carson Wentz follows everywhere.
But Birmingham's 4-0. Jersey's 3-1. They're the only teams that are 500 or better.
But keep in mind, the South has the most wreck. If you really looking at this, you got New Orleans nipping at Birmingham.
Yeah, because they're 3-1.
And Tampa Bay nipping at both of them.
And they're 3-2.
So it's a strong possibility by the time the season's over, the regular season anyway, Birmingham might not be undefeated.
Yeah. I mean, but as the standings stand right now,
as of right now,
the championship game would be Jersey and Birmingham.
If the championship started tomorrow, it would be Jersey and Birmingham. But it's a whole lot of football to go.
Oh yeah, how happy do you think Jersey is to finally have a team that's actually from their state playing in? Well, they're not playing in their state.
Well, I think this
claiming their state.
I think this was a smart move by the USFL because this is what hurt the original USFL was travel.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's not in a geographically close location besides Michigan, maybe Michigan, Philly, and Pittsburgh. Outside of that, everybody's spread out. Birmingham, Houston, New Orleans. You didn't even know why the USFL was hurting until you saw the lawsuit. And it was because of money. Owners, I'm just going to say this because I don't know how the ownership going.
The 30 for 30 on the USFL was actually really good.
Yeah, it was, but I feel like it still left out a lot of what ifs. And
Dark Side of Football also did a USFL
I did not catch that. So.
Yeah,
but this was smart. Make everybody play in the same area in the same stadium.
Oh yeah.
At first 1 maybe 2 years,
Get some money saved up.
Get some money. You got the TV deal because you're being on Fox, you're being on Peacock, and then see what happens after that.
Yeah,
The football is entertaining. It's not.
No, it's great football.
It's not 1995 NFL football where somebody come across the middle and John Lynch kills them, but still some good hits.
Yeah.
The technological advancements are there, and there's semi-known names like Shea Patterson. Unfortunately, he's a Michigan quarterback, but he's there. You got teams that are known because they had fan bases: Houston, Philly, Birmingham, Tampa Bay. Everything is there. This would be considered your dad's football.
And I mean, other than Jersey, I think every other team has an NFL team, so you can get transplanted fans from the NFL too.
And football, everybody loves football. What's up, Kyle? What's happening? Everybody loves football. Football is the most popular sport in America.
Yes,
it's the fastest growing sport in America,
in the world.
And we're just gonna leave it at that because you are not going to argue with Europe, the Middle East, or Asia when the World Cup come around. You will get your ass whooped.
Oh, it was a joke.
When World Cup season come around, it's a done deal.
Yeah, for sure.
But this, to me, this would be considered your dad's football.
Yeah,
because, like I said, I'm not going to give away the answers, but there are NFL Hall of Famers that went to this league over the NFL because of the money.
Mm-hmm.
Contracts were huge back in the original.
And exactly. And this
was the first $1 million contract.
Exactly. And this is what scared the NFL into free agency.
You ain't lying there, Kyle. It definitely is the number one sport in the world. Yeah. But I don't know about sadly. I mean, I played soccer when I was a kid. I loved every second.
Oh yeah, soccer and American football, because little do people know, American football is played all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
There is the IFAF, which is the International Federation of American Football. So we've had world championships in that area.
CFL,
Canada, but Canada's football is a lot. Warren Moon to tell you it's different.
Hey, we had to get rid of Johnny Football too, eh?
And look, it's there. We even hosted down in Canton. We even hosted the Junior World Football Championships, which was ironically the only time the United States won in its inception. No, because I actually looked it up. When the IFAF started having their world championships, the United States didn't even win the first two.
No.
It was Japan. Yeah. Go look it up.
Wow.
It was Japan. The very first two. We didn't enter, and to be fair, we didn't enter the first, I think it was the first three we didn't enter. But when we did, it was different scenarios. But those first two, Japan ended up winning.
So if the USFL continues to do well, I mean, the ratings look pretty good. The only thing they really have to compete with on Fox right now is NASCAR.
I was about to say either NASCAR or baseball.
And then next month when NASCAR moves to NBC,
which is dumb.
I don't understand why they do it either.
I don't either.
Why do you need to move? If you've got the contract, why do you need to move it to another station? I never understood that.
Well, the good thing is that once NASCAR does move over to NBC, we get Dale Jr. calling races.
Okay. That's star power. I give you that. But I remember a long time ago when there was only one channel that dominated sports.
Fox.
No. ABC.
ABC, yep, had everything.
ABC's Wide World of Sports dominated every fucking sport.
Yeah.
They covered every sport. I don't understand how.
Nick, it looks like there's another comment from Kyle there that we can't see.
What did Kyle say this time?
Cricket weirdly is 2 or 3 in popularity in the world.
How the fuck do you know that?
Because they're talking about balls and they got 9,000 people watching their show.
Hey, whoa. First off, I like to check the numbers on those because I think some of those are exaggerated. All right. And it's not 9,000 people in the remote building we're in. We in downtown Berea, literally.
Listen,
There ain't even 9,000 people here.
I had Dave double check all the numbers, and they came out the same way.
And he's got a show about balls. How many balls in the world is it?
Well, there's 2 in his pants.
Way too much information.
Stop the count.
Stop the count.
All right, Biden.
Oh man.
But I think, to answer your question, I think the only thing that they would have to worry about next year
Is the XFL.
I don't even think they're worried about the XFL. It's too much talent for you to not have talent.
True.
It's
Yeah.
way too much talent. Think about we'll go back 6 years. So think about 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017. From the time 2017's draft class came out, you've got 130 schools in Division One.
Yep.
Just Division One college football. Not even counting Division Two, Division Three, NAIA, junior college. Just Division One. There's 130 schools. You don't think you can find people to build a team?
Oh no, I'm not saying that you can't. I mean, but if the USFL continues to do well, because like I said, the only thing they're competing against right now is NASCAR on Fox. Anyway, they do have some soccer stuff, but especially with some of the races being on FS1, they're on Fox.
Right.
Mhm.
So you don't have nothing to worry about.
Exactly, and the ratings are good.
And what channel is the XFL going to be shown on? Because I've been hearing conflicting reports.
ESPN and NBC.
Here you go. Every market, every channel is covered. Every channel is covered. NBC, ABC, Fox,
The only one that would
CBS.
Well, I was going to say the only reason why they couldn't go to CBS is because of CBS's deal with the NFL.
Because they cover the AFC.
Yep.
And sometimes the NFC with the Browns, depending on if Fox doesn't want that game or not.
Right.
So every channel is covered. What are you worried about? This is a market that's literally built for everybody to eat.
And there's enough players.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's not
what are you worried about? If you're the USFL right now, you've got a leg up because you started a year ahead of the
XFL return.
If you were even worried about the competition aspect, the NFL is not even starting yet. Training camp won't start till July.
Exactly.
You've got a whole season to make a case for yourself. You're already on one of the biggest channels in TV, Fox.
And most of the time, you're following NASCAR. Or you're getting the NASCAR audience ready for NASCAR.
Or you're getting a time spot because NASCAR ain't being shown.
Exactly.
So what are you worried about? If I'm the USFL, I'm looking at the NFL, I'm looking at the XFL, I'm like, look, everybody got a channel.
Yeah.
Because the NFL, for those watching, think about this. You can watch on Sundays in the fall, you can watch the NFL on
ABC, NBC,
Fox, CBS. Those are
the Yahoo Sports app.
Yeah, there you go. Or Prime, Amazon
Prime with the Thursday night.
So you got everything covered in the fall. Somebody's going to get played somewhere. And then your DirecTV people, you got Red Zone and
the Sunday Ticket.
Sunday Ticket, yes.
Which is actually going to be sold to Amazon.
So you're going to have it there too. So you got that covered. All right, Super Bowl ended. End of February come. The XFL and the USFL starting.
And and that was one thing that I did agree with Vince on. He's like, "What do you have to watch in February? Figure skating. Where's my football?"
Yeah, and now you got it.
And now
not to even mention, you still got college football. Exactly. College football is running through January. From August until January, you got college football, and then from September to February, you've got pro football in the fall.
Yeah.
So now Super Bowl, National Championship just ended. All right, take a couple weeks to decompress, get back into it. XFL, USFL, and everybody's on a different channel, so you've got everything covered.
And the other good thing I think about this is like the NFL draft is kind of in the middle of the USFL,
exactly,
and the XFL.
So if you want to keep up with the Browns, Steelers, Ravens, you've got that
right. But what I was thinking is any of the players that go undrafted.
They should be going to the XFL or the USFL.
Exactly.
Period.
I was going to say have like a mid-season, not necessarily.
You don't even need to have a mid-season draft. You know why? Because once the XFL and the USFL seasons end, you could have your draft right then and there in July when training camp is going on.
Right.
You're set.
But I mean, you have these players that are just sitting around, kind of like, damn, I didn't make it.
That's what the waiver wire is for.
Exactly.
Free agency. That's what it's all for.
Exactly.
And I wish people would fans. I wish fans who don't play, never played, just watch fantasy football, whatever the fuck they doing on their weekends, would pay attention to this part. I said this a long time ago, just as an example. The Browns needed to shore up their defense back in 2020 because they were losing players left and right.
Yep.
You do realize you can get guys off the waiver wire. You
at
know
any
what the
time
waiver
of the season.
Exactly. I was like, do you know what the waiver wire stands for? Mm-hmm. It stands for motherfuckers who ain't working that'll work for cheap. I hated to say it like that, but it was the truth.
Can you imagine?
Clinton Dix sat on the waiver wire for 3 weeks.
Can you imagine what's going to happen when Faker Bayfield ends up on the waiver wire?
Hey, that's not my problem. I'm not a Browns fan.
Neither am I.
Speaking of which, we're going to go cut to the commercial real quick. But when we come back, we're going to talk about the Browns and the Steelers.
Okay.
Because the schedule was released Thursday, and Lee over here has got some discrepancies about the Steelers schedule. So we're going to discuss all of that when we come back.
But do we have to talk about the Browns?
Yeah, we do.
Damn it.
They tie into each other, dude.
I know.
The fucking owner of the Browns came from the Steelers.
I know.
Relax, man. Jesus.
This is really gross, but dirty trash cans can pose a serious health risk to you and your family. The pungent smell can attract rats and flies, not to mention maggots, both of which can contain dangerous diseases transferable to humans. Your dirty trash can is susceptible to harboring dangerous bacteria. Contact Brandon at Fitz Trash Bin Cleaning today at 440-752-1533 or find them on Facebook. Veteran owned and operated and eco-friendly. Again, call Brandon at 440-752-1533.
What's going on, everybody? Lee Money here from Money's Crazy Mind. And I don't know about you guys, but I know that sometimes after my trash has been picked up, man, does my garbage can smell like, well, trash. Well, if you have the same problem that I'm having, then you can reach out to Fitz's Trash Bin Cleaning LLC. They offer trash can cleaning and pressure washing. Fitz's Trash Bin Cleaning is locally owned, eco-friendly trash can cleaning.
This is really gross, but dirty trash cans can pose a serious health risk to you and your family. The pungent smell can attract rats and flies, not to mention maggots, both of which can contain dangerous diseases transferable to humans. Your dirty trash can is susceptible to harboring dangerous bacteria. Contact Brandon at Fitz Trash Bin Cleaning today at 440-752-1533 or find them on Facebook. Veteran owned and operated and eco-friendly. Again, call Brandon at 440-752-1533. This is really gross, but dirty trash cans can pose a serious health risk to you and your family. The pungent smell can attract rats and flies, not to mention maggots, both of which can contain dangerous diseases transferable to humans. Your dirty trash can is susceptible to harboring dangerous bacteria. Contact Brandon at Fitz Trash Bin Cleaning today at 440-752-1533 or find them on Facebook. Veteran owned and operated and eco-friendly. Again, call Brandon at 440-752-1533. This is really gross, but dirty trash cans can pose a serious health risk to you and your family. The pungent smell can attract rats and flies, not to mention maggots, both of which can contain dangerous diseases transferable to humans. Your dirty trash can is susceptible to harboring dangerous bacteria. Contact Brandon at Fitz Trash Bin Cleaning today at 440-752-1533 or find them on Facebook. Veteran owned and operated and eco-friendly. Again, call Brandon at 440-752-1533. This is really gross, but dirty trash cans can pose a serious health risk to you and your family. The pungent smell can attract rats and flies, not to mention maggots, both of which can contain dangerous diseases transferable to humans. Your dirty trash can is susceptible to harboring dangerous bacteria. Contact Brandon at Fitz Trash Bin Cleaning today at 440-752-1533 or find them on Facebook. Veteran owned and operated and eco-friendly. Again, call Brandon at 440-752-1533. This is really gross, but dirty trash cans can pose a serious health risk to you and your family. The pungent smell can attract rats and flies, not to mention maggots, both of which can contain dangerous diseases transferable to humans. Your dirty trash can is susceptible to harboring dangerous bacteria. Contact Brandon at Fitz Trash Bin Cleaning today at 440-752-1533 or find them on Facebook. Veteran owned and operated and eco-friendly. Again, call Brandon at 440-752-1533.
What's up, Redline Nation? Lean Money here. And, I've always been a fan of NASCAR. And one of the coolest collectibles that I always remember having when I was a kid growing up, and even when I was a teenager, was the number 3 Dale Earnhardt car. I always tried to make sure I got the new one every year when it came out, and it had to have that Intimidator logo on the side of it, just like Dale intimidated everybody on the track. And I get all my NASCAR diecast needs from Pit Road Diecast. They are the official sponsors of not only the Scoop, but also of Steel City Renegades. So if you or your family need any diecast cars just in time for Christmas, you can call Pit Road Diecast at 216-355-2347. And of course, if you mention Redline Radio, the
And then, all right, I can hear myself. Yep, I'm working on it right now.
And we are back.
Boom.
All right.
Sorry for the delay there, guys. We're trying to get these schedules up.
That's not it. While we since we're still on the football talk, Steelers, not the Steelers, the NFL released all 32 schedules past Thursday. And we literally see what everybody's gonna look like. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because the Rams, the Rams and the Bills start off. They start the season off. Is it close? It was that Sunday night game. Thursday night. You know what? Before we go any further, why the fuck are any of these teams playing on Thursday night?
The Thursday night games seem to be Because it used to be the Monday night games that sucked. Now it seems to be the Thursday night.
You know why those games suck? Because fucking players are tired.
Yeah.
You can't play Sunday and then turn right back around Thursday and be ready to play again.
Exactly.
The body takes, Ronnie, you know this just as well as I do. The body takes 2 to 3 days to heal. Why do you think when you watch NFL films and the coaches are talking to the players in the locker room after the game, they say, "I'll see you Wednesday"?
Yep.
And you know why that is? Because your body's trying to fucking heal. You've just been hit by several 230-pound people.
Yep.
So there is no reason you should be playing on Thursday. I thought this was the dumbest fucking. I still think it's a dumb idea. You should not. Thursday was meant just me personally. When I was a kid, Thursdays was meant for college football. You know who you saw in those Thursday night games? The teams that you normally don't watch on Saturday.
Yep.
The Hawaiis, the San Diego States.
So the SEC.
The MAC schools. Those were the teams that you saw on Thursday night college football. Yeah. Why? Because they were giving them a chance.
Yep.
The NFL don't need a chance, and you don't need that much money to sacrifice people's bodies.
Yeah. So do you want to just do this week by week? Like you start with the Browns, and I do the Steelers, and then we talk about what we think about the matchup, and then we move on to week 2?
We could do that. Or we could do this.
Okay.
I can read off the Browns schedule. You read off the Steelers schedule. We'll pick out the games that we think are the biggest games of the season for each team.
That works too.
There we go. All right. So for the Browns, week 1, they have the Panthers. Week 2, they got the Jets. Week 3, we see Steelers. Week 4, Falcons. Week 5, the Chargers. Didn't they just see them? But it's a home game. It's a home game. So week 6, you got the Patriots. Week 7, you got the Ravens. 8, it's a Monday nighter against the Bengals. Week 9, they're off. It's a bye week. Week 10, you got the Flying Fish. Week 11, you got the Bills. Week 12, you got the Buccaneers. So back-to-back weeks right there, you got 2 tough-ass games.
Yeah.
Week 13, you got the Texans. It'll be Deshaun Watson's return to Houston, assuming he's not suspended. I don't know why he would, but in the event he is, he should be returning by then. Week 14, you get a rematch with the Bengals. Week 15, a rematch with the Ravens. Week 16, you got the Saints, who just happened to just sign Jarvis Landry. And week 17, you got the Washington Commanders. And in week 18, you finish it off at Pittsburgh.
All right. So apparently the football gods hate the Steelers this year. We open up week 1 against the Bengals.
Dang.
Week 2 against the Patriots.
Dang.
Week 3, Thursday night football against the Browns in Cleveland.
That's not bad. That should be entertaining.
Week 4, we got the Jets, who just had an amazing draft.
Yeah, something you don't hear often.
Week 5, the Bills in New York. Week 6, Tom Terrific comes to Pittsburgh. Week 7, Miami on, it looks like Sunday Night Football.
Why would you? Wait, whoa. You know what? Keep going.
Week 8, we got the Eagles in Philly. We got a bye week, week 9. Saints come to Pittsburgh, week 10.
Ooh.
Day after my birthday, god damn it. We play the Bengals again in Pittsburgh.
That should be a win.
Hopefully. Then we got the Colts in Indy.
Ooh.
We got the Falcons in Atlanta.
Easy dub.
Yeah, that's easy.
The Ravens come to town on December 11th.
Fuck them birds.
We go to North Carolina to play the Panthers. Raiders come to town on Christmas Eve.
Tell me that's a Sunday. That's a night.
It's Christmas Eve.
Tell me it's a night game.
8:15.
It's a night game.
That's gonna be a good one.
And then we got
that one.
We got back-to-back divisionals to finish out the year. We got the Steelers going to Baltimore for the Ravens on New Year's Day. And then I don't know if the Browns schedule still says what it did Thursday night, but the Steelers schedule says that this game could be either January 7th or 8th.
It's a flex game.
With a time to be determined. But
it says to be determined on here. It's a flex game.
Yeah.
For both, yep.
the Browns have several flex games
So
because
half the Steelers' schedule is flex.
it's flexed because they expect. And here, I'm glad we brought this up immediately. For those watching and those that don't understand the way the schedule in the NFL comes out, the NFL comes out with the schedule, and the set schedule is what it is. If you're playing at 1 o'clock, you're not changing.
Exactly.
But
and either 4 o'clock or
you
8
have
games.
You have up to 5 games that may be flexed. I think it's 5, it might be 4, but you have somewhere in between that number that are flexed. And what they mean by that is, depending on how you're doing during the course of a season, you could either be playing at 4 o'clock or 8 o'clock at that point. And as the Browns' cases, it'll either be 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're playing at 4 o'clock, that means you're basically playing a matinee game. A matinee game is that game that gets you ready before Sunday night. So, here's my thinking. I don't think it's just you feeling that way, that the Browns or the Steelers got a shit-in schedule. I think everybody in the AFC North got that type of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now that I've heard I looked at perused the Browns schedule, I should say, but now that I'm hearing it again, they got screwed pretty bad too.
I think the Bengals did too.
Yeah,
like everybody in the AFC North is seeing the AFC East and the NFC South.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, everybody's fucking seeing Tom Brady. Everybody's got the Bills.
And do you think that might be because it could very well be his final season? Now that he's got this contract.
It was supposed to be his last fucking season last year.
You ain't lying there, brother.
Now he's making more money whenever he fucking retires. He's making more money than the top highest paid baseball player for nothing. All because he don't want to be at home with Giselle.
Yeah, and I got to say, I'm actually kind of shocked at how many primetime games the Steelers got this year with so many question marks.
I'm not. Why are you surprised?
I just thought now that Ben's gone, that they.
What difference do it make? It's the team.
True.
It's the team. It's not him. It's not the Ben Roethlisbergers. Right. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. So and not just you that said that. It's a lot of people that get mad about that. Oh, how did it come to me? Look,
I'm not mad about it. I'm shocked that they have that many.
Mad, shocked. It's all the same to me. But when people say, how come such and such got so many night games, so many Monday night games? Because they're doing good. There's no other way around it. When your team is good, you get to bring more money into your city and your team. When the Browns
make the playoffs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So think about that. When the Browns were doing good in 2020, they got night games. They got Monday night games. They got a Sunday night game. They had a shootout that was arguably game of the year with the Ravens. If fucking Lamar Jackson don't come back, they win the division just off that game.
For sure.
Think about that. That's how good the Browns were.
For sure.
So now,
do you have the preseason games for the Browns?
No. Well, Ronnie might, but I don't.
I got all 3. So first, it's the Jaguars in Jacksonville.
Of course.
At 7 p.m. You have the Eagles that's in Cleveland at 1.
I done took Jacksonville.
Right.
And then you have the Bears in Cleveland.
Why is it all the Bears? Like,
they play the Bears every year, I feel like, in the preseason.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Why
is that?
Well, the first preseason game for the Steelers is actually a Super Bowl rematch against the Seahawks.
It's not a Super Bowl rematch. Russell Wilson ain't even there no more.
True. And then we get AEW in AEW. That's who I call the Jags.
Yeah.
Khan family owns Jacksonville Jaguars for the record, folks.
And most of their money goes to pay AEW salary. And then
pay somebody. The players ain't doing much.
And then the Kitty Cats from Michigan.
Oh, Thanksgiving, the Charlie Batch game. Gotcha.
So two preseason games at home, 1 on the road.
I'm not a fan of this taking away the 4th preseason game to give them a 17th game. I'm just going to be honest. Because
in that first game of the regular season, especially for the Steelers, since it's a divisional game, is going to feel like that 4th preseason game.
No, it's not. You start off, I know you know this, but for those that are watching and not a behind the scenes person, do you know how important those divisional games are early in the season?
Yeah, and I'm actually kind of shocked because a lot of people thought that, we obviously week 1, week 3 for the Steelers are divisional games.
And that's bad.
It is.
You have to either split that or you got to win both.
And then
you don't see another division rival
for another couple of weeks.
Exactly.
But then also we have the Jets on a short week.
And that's not fair. I mean, I get it, the Jets stink, but still.
But they had an amazing draft. So
the draft does not equate to what they gonna look like.
I understand that, but I mean, they have on paper they have the potential to be a good team.
And that's a home game for the Jets, ain't it?
No, that's a home game for Pittsburgh.
Oh, it is? Okay, well, that helps a little
Traditionally, the Jets don't really do well against Pittsburgh anyway, so.
It's always been Benny and the Jets. But we don't have Benny. Now is it going to be Mitchie and the Jets or Kenny and the Jets?
Who cares? It's the fucking Jets.
True. I mean, but then right after that we have the Bills in Highmark.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. That game makes me nervous.
You ain't kidding,
man. You figure right now the way it's set up, the only teams that are playing the Bills at home, outside of the two that we just mentioned, you got the Ravens and the Bengals. They get to play the Bills at their home stadiums.
That's some bullshit.
And they make Pittsburgh and Cleveland go play them.
Yeah, why?
In Buffalo. I'm like, come on, man.
Well, the good side to this.
Well, didn't Pittsburgh play Buffalo last year at home open the season?
That's the only reason.
That's the only reason it makes sense.
That's what he said. Because I couldn't get the words for it, but that would make sense. Like when I said with the Chargers, I'm like, didn't we just play them as fans, football fans? Didn't you just see the Browns play the Chargers last year? Yep. Oh, wait, they were in San Diego, or they were in L.A. My bad. They were in L.A., so it makes sense for them to come here. Gotcha.
And then the Bucks come in here because I think we played in Tampa Bay last year.
And then the Bucks are coming to Cleveland.
What was that, 7?
For the Bucks.
Yep, so that's the trade-off right there because both the Bengals and the Ravens have to go to Tampa.
So Buccaneers come to Cleveland week 12.
Week 12, okay. But you guys play the Dolphins too, right?
Yeah, at Miami.
And we play them in Pittsburgh. No, we play them in Miami too.
How the fuck did they swing that?
See? It's like it's almost like it's identical. Like you just say, you know what? These two teams go there. These two teams come here.
Now you see the Eagles in the preseason, where we have the Battle of Pennsylvania in the regular season.
And I can't really call that a Battle of Pennsylvania no more. Man. The curse of Carson Wentz is strong.
The curse is strong with this one.
Yeah, because like they have, and here's the thing: I wanted to point out, the Eagles aren't a bad team. They just play in a bad division.
Yes.
They play in the arguably the worst division in all of professional football.
Yeah, they have the death.
And the sad part about this is the only division where all 4 teams have won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, they have the Death Blue Star. They have the Washington Cobra Commanders.
And I'm with that. If they actually change that and call Hasbro and get that, I'm with that. I will buy a T-shirt.
But I mean, you know what I'm saying? They have Dallas, they have Washington, and then who's the 4th team in their division?
Dallas,
the
Washington,
Giants,
and the Giants. So I mean, the Giants are arguably the best team in that division.
Are they?
Now. Well, and next to Dallas.
Are they? Is Dallas even?
No, I mean, Dallas lost a lot of good players this year in the offseason. So.
Everybody in that division lost somebody.
Yeah.
That's what. So, Ronnie, I got to ask you, heard the Browns schedule. Biggest games in your opinion? Biggest game, like the Browns absolutely have to win these games.
All of them.
Let's see. You have to win, well, of course, the division games, but outside of the division, I feel like, this is bad. You can't lose both the Buccaneers and Bills games, right?
Yeah.
You have to win one of those. Also, the advantage is you got New England coming to Cleveland, which is definitely a lot better than going there.
Right.
And it's in October, which makes it a lot easier too.
Because there's no
so there's that. And then, of course, here's the funny part. I'm going to say week 1 because it could be the first win that they get in a home opener since 2004. That's actually huge for the city.
That would be big.
Holy crap.
Right? Because you figured the last time they came close was that infamous tie in 2018. So there's that. But then outside of that, it's like, well, okay, these other games I'm looking at, the Chargers is always a good game. I'm the Jets and the Falcons game, you're like, whatever. Look past that. The Dolphins are actually a little bit better, I would say, this year. They've acquired some decent players in the free agency. It'll be interesting to see that game for sure in Miami. So
Yeah,
that's another good one. The Saints only because they got Jarvis, him coming back to Cleveland to play against them. That's going to be a bigger game.
Jameis was going to be quarterback, didn't you?
Who?
Jameis Winston.
Yeah, Jameis Winston's a quarterback who they were looking to trade, but that fell through, so they kept him and re-signed him and extended him a little bit. But you figure they got Jarvis Landry, they got Olave, and they have Michael Thomas. I think OBJ may go there.
Really?
Just off a rip for 1 year.
I want to hear this.
Just to play with Jarvis.
Just to play with Landry, yeah, and go back home. I mean, they're both from Louisiana,
You know what? I didn't think about that part. I forgot they play together at LSU. So that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Do you have any other games that's absolutely must win?
In my opinion, after the trade that they made with Houston to get Deshaun, if they can't win in Houston.
Yeah, that's another one. Yep, that's true. Him going back there.
You know what? Just throwing this out there for the sake of 4 games, whatever the case may be. By the time this game rolls around,
he should be back.
One, that's the first thing. And I honestly think if he's back in time from suspension to play in this game, I think he sticks it to Houston with no lube.
So that's the first game in December, right?
Yep.
So what do you think the Browns' record is going to be by the time they get to that game?
Well, let's rewind a little bit, because here's my thing. This is what I think needs to happen. The stretch of September, I think you need to be either 3-0 or 2-1. That's just me.
Who do they lose to?
They could lose to the Steelers. It's very possible. Even with the team that they have, it's possible. Anything's possible in the NFL. But I'm saying this because this is how I feel like this is going to play out.
Okay.
You need to go in September. You need to go either 3-0 or 2-1. No questions asked. You have to go. You have to go 4-1 in October.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only team I can see them possibly losing to in October would be the Bengals.
No, I see the Chargers.
You see the Chargers too?
I see the Chargers.
Oh, I do too. Yeah.
After you watch last year's game,
true.
It's a possibility this could repeat.
And then they added Khalil Mack.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now you got a problem. But 4-1, 3-2 at best. At worst. At best, 4-1. At best, at worst, 3-2.
Okay.
Now, when you get to November, this is where the problems come in.
Yep.
Because every November, the Browns have fallen apart and had to play catch up.
Not only that, but you got the Bills and the Bucks.
Yeah. So now, 1, 2, 3, you got to go 2-1. You got to. You either need to beat the Dolphins head up after the bye week and then hope you get a late field goal that wins the game against the Bills.
Yeah.
Or you just got to shoot Tom Brady before he makes it to the field. One of these 3 got to happen. And okay, so just for
you have the Browns at a playoff caliber schedule right now.
Because they have on paper they have a playoff
caliber team. Yeah.
So and you have a playoff quarterback now to command your team
if he's able to play.
I think he will.
I look, I don't disagree, and I've said that from the beginning.
And I feel like if he does get suspended, he needs to sue.
Fuck yes.
So now when you get to December,
your first game is against the Texans.
You stick it to Texas hard, no lube, no condom, no nothing. Stick it to Texas.
Man, you Ice Cube, no Vaseline in that ass, huh?
If you tried to blackball me publicly and tried to ruin not only my name but my reputation and my career, I'm going to humiliate you on national TV.
Do you think? All right. So I know that the NFL had a really big problem with Faker Bayfield going up to Hugh Jackson the first time that they played Cincinnati.
And for what?
For handing him the ball and everything like that.
Man, they better get the fuck out of here with that.
I mean,
I've seen worse.
Oh, so have I. But I mean, do you see Deshaun Watson possibly trying to do something like that, or with the way that the taunting penalties.
Nah, he's a professional. He won't do that.
He's professional. Worst case scenario is I see him walking off the field not shaking nobody's hand.
Yep, that's what I see happening. I see him just playing the game, going hard, embarrassing them, and then just walking off.
Avoiding
the taunting penalty.
No, not even a penalty. Just game's over. Fuck y'all.
Yeah.
Yep, and he'll just speak in the press.
Yeah, walking right to the locker room.
Makes sense.
So in December, you stick it to the Texans. If you've already beaten the Bengals by this time, you should have no problem beating them again.
And they did it last year. They were one of the only teams in the division to beat the Bengals.
I thought you won the division based off of that. You beat the division champ.
Yeah.
You swept them. But you lost to the Ravens. You lost to the Steelers.
Yeah.
So by the time you get to the Saints and you're at home against the Saints do not do well in cold weather.
No.
Historically, let's call it what it is, folks. You can disagree with me all you want to. The facts are online. You can check them out. Historically, teams that play in dome stadiums do not fare well in the cold. Mm-hmm. This is why the Vikings look like shit now.
Yep.
Because the Vikings used to be a cold weather team.
Yep.
Now they're a dome team, and they've been sucking it up ever since.
And think about that last game that Breeze played against Chicago, how that went.
It was terrible.
That was horrible.
He's a Texas. He ain't used to snow.
But that actually brings up a very good intangible for the Browns, though.
It always does. The Browns just don't ever take advantage.
I'm actually it's against the Browns, I should say.
I'm listening.
Deshaun Watson's never played in cold weather.
Yeah, not consistently.
Not consistently, but he has. So
he out there now with a Scully on, probably.
Shit, it's cold out here. What the fuck
cold out here? You're like, bro, it's 80 degrees. What you talking about?
Exactly, 80 degrees. Now I'm playing fucking 100 degree weather down in Houston.
Because that boy showed up to the training camp with a skull cap on. I'm like, you indoors, bro? You cold? You got a skull cap on. You throwing the ball around indoors.
They got the air 60.
Right. You know what? It's the Browns. This is a cold weather team.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but you have a quarterback that's not used to playing in cold weather, and that was one of the reasons he didn't want to come to Cleveland.
But you can always fix that. You can work out in cold weather.
You can.
Yeah, he's going to get used to that.
You gonna play in Cleveland. You gonna get used to Cleveland weather real quick.
You have
cold knees.
You could be playing at 80 degrees, and by the time halftime roll around and you come from the locker room, it'll be a blizzard outside.
Absolutely. So I mean, but the Browns got it kind of easy in January. They have.
It's not easy.
Well, they have the Commanders, and
you got the Commander, but you don't know what the Commanders are going to look like.
True.
This could be, like I said,
curse of Carson Wentz.
Well, offensively,
but again, the NFC East is the worst division in football because you can make it to the playoffs at 7-9. But just because you don't have a power team in that division does not mean you don't know what team is going to come out of that division either. And that's the scary part. Mm-hmm. To me, as a player, to Ronnie, I'm pretty sure
it's a 4-way tie in that division.
Yeah, that and you don't know what team is going to show up. You don't know what Commander team is going to show up. They have a hell of a defense.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, the defense is going to be there.
Don't have the offense to match how they play on defense.
Yeah.
That was their kryptonite last year. Now, have they corrected that in the draft? Possibly. Are they going to correct that in free agency? Maybe.
We'll have to see.
This is all what ifs, what coulds, might be's. But the one thing that's certain that's going to come out of this game is that defense for Washington is scary. Think about this. They're the only team on this schedule that actually killed a quarterback.
True.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow went down in his first season against Washington.
So what do you think the Browns are going to do if, God forbid, and I don't want to see this happen, it's just a question mark at this point. What happens if Watson gets suspended and Brissett gets injured? Do they suck Baker Mayfield's dick to try to get him to play, or do they go with the Steelers reject?
Truth be told, I think this is the only reason why Baker's on the roster still. because you as a team and as a GM, I would use this, and this was the best line I ever heard in the movie. Remember the scene in Little Big League where the pitcher wanted out because he didn't want to play for Billy Haywood, and he maybe I forgot how to pitch, maybe I forgot how to do this, and Haywood looked at the pitcher manager and said, "Hey, what's the going rate for an absent-minded pitcher who can't get nobody out?" At this point, if because I don't want the Browns coming by me, I don't want nobody suing me, nothing that I was part of this. But in the event that does happen, Watson injured or Watson suspended, Brissett gets injured, and Baker has to step up, your career is on the line. So playing like shit would not be in your best interest.
Absolutely not. And that could also be a huge selling point for any
there
team
you go.
for Baker Mayfield.
So if that were to happen, if I highly doubt it would, but if it were to happen, Ronnie may see something I don't see. But if it happened and this is what I see, it would be in his best interest not to look like shit at the helm.
And shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And tell your wife to shut the fuck up.
Hey. You know what?
That's it right there.
Yeah, I'm going to go that way.
Stay off your buddy's podcasts. Shut down your wife's Instagram account. And stay silent.
Yeah, because she going to get him a lot of trouble. It costs him a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
I mean,
you got to think about it like this, too. Kevin Colbert wanted nothing to do with Faker Mayfield.
Well, he's still making money off of those at-home with Baker commercials.
Well, true. But he's still got $18.8 million coming from the Browns, too.
And that's the thing. That's why he hasn't been traded. Nobody wants to eat that.
No. And Kevin Colbert flat out said the only way we would pick up Mayfield would be if he got cut.
He's not getting cut.
Colbert is no longer in charge in Pittsburgh. We don't know who's going to be in charge in Pittsburgh. They may have a different opinion of Baker Mayfield.
And if they do, that's fine. But
right.
But somebody somewhere is going to have to eat that $18 million.
Or at least half of it. The Browns said that they will absorb half.
Yeah. So that's 9.
Yeah.
So
making it even 19 or
9 is 8. It's 18 million, so it's 9 million a piece.
Yeah.
So it would still be in his best interest if that happens. Like
Just
I
shut
said,
up.
Yeah, like I said, Ronnie might see something different playing out, and usually Ronnie's good with the Browns. I'm not.
Yeah.
So personally, I think it would be in his best interest not to look like shit, manage the game, and hand it off to Chubb. Throw when you need to. You're healed up now.
Exactly.
You're healed up now, so you can show off the arm. You better have some accuracy.
Yeah.
That's
now, who do you think is guilty in this whole scenario? Because I think it's 50-50 between the Browns organization and Baker.
I think it's all three. I think it's the organization. I think it was Stefanski, and I think it was Baker, because there's no way in hell. This was my fault. I can honestly say this was my fault. I blew out my knee back in 2010 and didn't realize I had blew it out. Still playing. 2017 rolls around. I am playing with bone-on-bone pain.
Ouch. And I know how that feels because I have it too.
I was pushed into by my lady. She pushed me into going to get looked at. The doctor literally told me as he saw my MRI. I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
So normally they show you what it looked like. He came back in. He had his pen, had his little paper, his little pad. All right, while I'm in there, I'm going to take a look at your ACL, make sure you didn't tear anything, your LCL. Wait, whoa. What do you mean while you're in there? He put the pen down. He looked at me. He looked at her. He looked back at me. He said, "You tore this thing so good. I am surprised you are still walking."
I got told the same thing.
And let alone playing at a high level the way that you are. So shout out to Dr. David Marsh at the Center for Orthopedics because he got me together. But in that scenario, I knew I had to sit down because as a player, playing a position that I need to run, I need my knees. Baker knew as a player,
his arm was falling off.
His arm was falling off the bone. You need to sit down. Then you had it broke. Something in there was broke as well. It's torn and broken. At that point, playing shouldn't even be a thought in your head. And as an organization, if you're invested millions of dollars into this guy, you should already
Sit
know.
the fuck down.
you should already have pressed the shutdown button on him.
Yep.
Stefanski, you should have been right along. You should have been the first one because you see them. And like I
More
said,
times than anybody.
yeah, and I'm not saying it's all his fault. This was a
No.
joint
Oh,
effort.
no.
This was all a joint effort. So what I'm saying is,
Who paid off the medical staff to keep him playing?
I'm going to say that was the organization. Because there could have been. We don't know, but hindsight's 2020. Conspiracy theories are everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Hindsight 2020. I think Stefanski knew when he took the hit, the first hit, he was done. Something was not even he was done. Something was wrong. Then when he tried to go for the fumble and missed against the Cardinals, he confirmed what he had already knew.
Exactly.
I think he went in there. He said, "I got to shut him down. He's no good to us." And then I think the organization stepped in and said, "No, if he's got his good, if it's his, here's the conversation. All right, look, it's not looking good. Baker, we need to shut Baker down. Is it his throwing hand? No. Get him the fuck out there.
Yeah.
Get his ass the fuck up out there. We need him."
And I mean, we know that Haslam has no problem spending money.
He doesn't. He also does not make the best decisions for the organization.
Yes.
No, he does not. Oh my goodness.
Historically, he has not made good decisions for that organization.
That's true. So, with that being said, I think Stefanski knew, Stefanski tried, and he got overruled.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think happened. Now, is that the truth? No. We don't know what the truth is.
Now,
what we saw outside on the on-field product was Baker was fucked up.
Yeah. Now, and the crazy thing is that's supposed to happen week 2. They saw the Steelers not too long after that. That was on Halloween.
Right.
Everybody knew. Everybody in the NFL knew by that point that Baker Mayfield's arm was about ready to fall off.
And the thing,
if Watt had gotten a clean hit on Mayfield,
his career probably would have been over.
Do you think Watt walked away with his arm?
I think he walks away with his life. But also, keep in mind, he tore the labrum on his non-throwing shoulder. So it's his left shoulder. Baker's right-handed, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
So he tore it on his left. He broke his left. Mm. So that whole side is useless.
Well, then he had a knee issue, and he had a foot issue.
I mean, which one would you rather have had? Which issue would you rather have had?
At that point, a foot issue.
All right. So
because I have knee issues and they suck.
I do too. Ronnie got Duncan issues, but he tried to go up. He made it. He made the shot. He made the dunk.
Oh Lord!
He just came down wrong. But all jokes aside, what I'm thinking is, again, Ronnie, you might think differently. You might see differently because you're closer to the Browns than I am.
Yeah.
But
we're outsiders.
But
we're fans of another team, and we're looking at it from what we're seeing.
No, I'm looking at it from a player standpoint.
Well, that too.
But like I said, Ronnie's closer to the Browns than I am because he's got sources. I don't. But what I'm thinking happened was because they knew it was a torn labrum on his non-throwing shoulder. His non-throwing shoulder is broken. As a quarterback, you need the throwing motion, so you need to go from here to here. If you harness that, your right side your dominant side is controlling all of that. So what I'm thinking was if they patch his ass up, he'll be fine. I'm not saying that was what really happened, but
I mean, it seems to be the thought, though.
Yeah.
Seeing what we saw all season, outside of the Broncos game, the Broncos game, or what's the name? The Green Bay game.
Yeah, Green Bay game was just terrible, but he kept him in it for as much as he could.
I think COVID was the best thing that happened to Baker Mayfield last season because at least they gave him a break.
He would have got a break if they would have just sat him down.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, because he came back the week after that Packers game and was actually looking a little better.
But that's 1 week. You need a whole You need a whole 6 to 8 months to. I would say 6 months because they say it's a 6-month injury.
Yeah.
So I would say you needed a whole 6 months after that because you're hurt. Dude, do you realize how important all of that shit in your shoulder is?
Oh, hell yeah. It throws off your equilibrium. It does all kinds of shit.
You're turning left when you should go up.
True.
So, Ronnie, what do you think the issue was in that?
Honestly, I would say it seemed like it probably was an overruling. And the
Okay.
reason why I say that is we saw this before, right?
Mhm.
That's what drove Kyle Shanahan out of Cleveland.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because he got overruled and they put in freaking Johnny Manziel.
And
And he didn't even want him to play that year.
Johnny. No, from what I was told, he was against Manziel.
Yeah, he didn't even want to draft him.
Yeah, he didn't want him on the team at all. They forced him on the team, and then they forced him to play in his offense. He's like, what?
He doesn't even
And
know.
that's what drove him out of there. He
doesn't even
quit.
A&M's offense.
Right.
And he
Right.
quit. He literally quit. He's like, I'm just going to walk away.
Yeah.
Right? Don't even worry about dealing me. I'm just going to resign from this position and go somewhere else.
And
Like, it was that deep. And I think that's what happened again here, because that was the first time that I saw the Haslam's, or should I say just Jimmy, because D wasn't really doing anything with it at the time. Seeing him step in and try to, basically put his foot down and be like, play the kid. Everybody want to see him play the kid, and not giving the faith of the organization or the guys running it under him to handle like they're supposed to be handling it. So I felt like that probably happened again. People wanted to see Baker like keep him out there, him doing the whole like, I'm tough, whatever, and here I am, I'm about to do my thing out here with one arm, whatever, and go for it. And I'm like, look, if you're paying a backup quarterback $14 million, you need to put him out there. You know what I'm saying? Especially a guy who you felt been in the offense before. It's made more sense. I just don't understand that.
Now that you say it like that, you are absolutely right. Because I personally believed I didn't trust backup quarterback with a potato gun.
I didn't either. But
wait, you're saying Case Keenum couldn't have done it?
Well, here's the thing, though. If you're going to do that, do it week 2, and you take a couple of L's, right? Because the thing is, he's going to have to get more reps with the first team anyway.
Right.
You take a couple of L's earlier in the season because you're going to take those with him playing. And then he gets used to that rotation playing with that first team offense as the season goes on. But the short weeks that they had to prepare and all of that, it still put Baker in a better position to have them win, even with him busted up because he wouldn't get the reps.
Right.
All right. Well, we are getting down to the nit and grit here.
Oh, yeah. If our producer would be so nice to queue up those overlays that
Well, we're not going to go over the Steelers schedule?
Oh, my bad. But hold off on that real quick. All right, let's go to the Steelers schedule real quick.
So September, they're looking at 2-1 potentially.
I'm looking at 3-0.
You think they can win all those games?
Here's why I think they could go 3-0. I think they can honestly start off 3-0 because let's look at reality. The teams that have won the Super Bowl the last 20 years, not the last 2, 3, 4, the last 20 years, the teams that have won the Super Bowl have not started off good. They've went in the first 6 games of the season.
But you got to remember, the Bengals lost the Super Bowl.
I just said that in the last the team. Not even okay. Let's throw out the loss. Teams that have just been to the Super Bowl traditionally in the last 20 years have not started off well. They either start off the first 6 games 500 or below. With this, the Bengals have lost. This is the 3rd Super Bowl they've lost. And third time is supposed to be a charm. You've added some pieces. You've lost a couple. What is the mindset of the Bengals coming into this season?
There is that. And the Patriots are not the Patriots of old.
Damn that. You have a better team and a better set of quarterbacks than the Patriots. I don't give a fuck what nobody. I don't give a fuck what Bill Belichick is saying. I'm not sold on Matt Jones as their quarterback. He probably will be out by next year.
So, I mean, to me, the biggest threat that they have in the first 3 weeks is the Browns,
which is a winnable game. It's
winnable.
Game,
yeah,
that game could go either way. I see 3-0, but since this is a night game on a Thursday,
after coming off the Patriots,
if they win the Patriots game, they've got a lot of momentum with them.
Mm-hmm.
If the Browns can, start off hot, you go the Browns' way. So that game is a toss-up.
Mm-hmm.
But I say 3-0, 2-1 maybe. I don't see them losing to the Patriots, and if they do lose, it'll probably be on a bullshit field goal.
I was going to have them beat the Browns and the Patriots, and then, because the Bengals are coming off hot. That's why. Now, October.
The Jets It's the Jets. If you can't beat the Jets, you just need to quit football.
Yeah. The two games that I see to be the toughest are going to be the Bills and the Bronx, or the Bills and the Bucks.
Okay, so with the Bills,
we did beat them last year.
We did, but it was close.
Very.
That was not a blowout game, and I honestly feel like Jared Allen has got revenge on his mind.
Mm-hmm.
He is very tough to bring. He's been Roethlisberger for New York.
Oh yeah.
He is very tough to bring down when he starts running. And that's the good thing about it. When you keep him in the pocket and he doesn't have the momentum to run, he's very easy to bring down.
Oh, shit. We got 5 games in October.
So if they could keep Allen in the pocket long enough to Watt, Hayward, and whoever else they got back there can get to him,
oh yeah,
it'll be a long day for Allen. With the Bucks, if Tom Brady is not sniper rifle hit before he even gets out of his car at the stadium, you are going to have problems because Tampa Bay is a very complete team. They didn't lose anybody.
No. Well, Gronk, but
I mean, but you still got every receiver that you could think of in the NFC South that's decent on one.
And well, they lost Antonio Brown, but that's not much of a
Who the fuck cares?
Right.
Who the fuck cares?
Now,
that's Kyrie for football.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I see them going.
They beat the Jets. The Bills game and the Bucks games are toss-ups. You can beat the Dolphins.
They'll beat the Eagles. So they're probably going to split the month.
And that's fine. That's fine. As long as you – here's my thing. And I've said this as a player. Ronnie has said this as a player. As long as you keep pace in the division, you ain't really got to worry.
Right.
The only time you need to worry is if you are in a tie at the end of the season with somebody and they start hitting you with tiebreakers, common opponents, point differentials, who slept with whose mama, something along them lines.
That goddamn Lions game last year.
Exactly. If they you handle business against the Lions, you're not even worried about it. You got 10 wins and you're in.
Right.
So now, again, I'm not worried about splitting a month. I'm not worried about being 500. I'm worried about keeping pace in the division because this is the only division in the NFL that all 4 teams have either been to the playoffs in the last 3 years, contended for the playoffs in the last 3 years, or have
been to
just
the Super Bowl.
Been to the Super. There you go. Been to the Super Bowl. You have a very tough divisional schedule.
Always have.
Always have.
Even
when the Browns stunk. You still had to beat. You had to beat
exactly.
them.
And I have always said that the AFC North is hands down the toughest division in football.
Everybody knows this. They just don't want to admit it.
Exactly.
Nope, they don't. They don't.
And that's
on top of that, think about it too. Like, even as bad as the Browns have been, a lot of that came from the fact that they were in the AFC North.
Exactly.
In a different division.
Hey, put them in the AFC West. Back when
they dominated.
They would have dominated. Put them in the NFC West before Russell Wilson.
Right, before them. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Before Wilson,
NFC East.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You win.
Yeah.
Now, I get it. Everybody's like, oh, where's the Browns? The Browns have been cursed since 99. The Browns got cursed. Why did they get cursed? Okay, think about the 94-95 draft. Who came out of that draft? The greatest linebacker that everybody's fucking afraid of. Ray Lewis. If the Browns stay in Cleveland, guess where he's going? He's going to Cleveland. Hands down.
So, I wonder if this is a known fact by a lot of people. And I mean, even the 30 for 30 Believe Land,
they even said
barely touched on this. But the fact that Ozzie Newsome had every draft pick that Belichick was going to draft that year.
He had it.
And took that list to Baltimore with him.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Literally was able to just go down the list.
There's a scene. I don't know if it was in the Believe Land, but I've
or
seen
maybe it was in the A Football Life Cleveland 95.
I think it was in that one. There was a lady even said she was a worker. She was on the staff for the Browns. She was a secretary, I believe. She said Ozzie had the list of who Belichick wanted. If we don't leave Cleveland,
they would have won the Super Bowl that year.
Either that or they would have had the best draft ever. Because she even said, she's like, Ray Lewis, such and such, such and such. Those were our guys.
Every player the Ravens
Everybody
drafted.
the Ravens got was supposed to be a Brown. So with that, they've been cursed because now your draft became Baltimore's draft.
Mhm.
The Steelers have not really had a problem drafting. The Bengals got better over time. They got tired of being a doormat. Because remember, the Bengals were the Browns' little brother.
But at least they would make it to the playoffs every year, and they would either get dominated by Pittsburgh or Baltimore.
Barely. You think about the Bengals. The last Super Bowl they made was what, 88, 89, something
Yeah.
like that? Okay, that was your last Super Bowl appearance before last year.
Mm-hmm.
You were a fucking doormat.
To the AFC North.
Not only for your division, you were a fucking doormat up until you got Carson Palmer.
Yep, all the way up into that.
You had Achilles Smith, who stood us up, by the way. He was supposed to be a guest on our show once, and he stood us up. But you had Achilles Smith, John Kitna.
Mm.
He got to the Cowboys and did the same shit he did here in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And then you got Carson Palmer, you got Hushmanzada, you got Chad Johnson. Everything turned around for you. You were competing with the Steelers. You were competing with the Ravens. You weren't really worried about the Browns because now they were your little brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, to be fair, it's not like the Bengals, got it right on the first try either. But they turned Paul Brown Jr., or Mike Brown, rather, excuse me. Mike Brown got tired of being a doormat. He got tired of making bad decisions. His best decision came with Carson Palmer. His second best decision came with Hushmanzada, Chad Johnson.
Yeah.
His third best decision came with the fact he got tired of everybody laughing at him. Because remember, in the 80s, the two Super Bowls that they made, they played the best team, arguably the best team of the 80s in the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they was bums.
Mm-hmm.
And you still ran through a whole a whole AFC Central that featured at the time Warren Moon, Ryan Sipe / Bernie. I can't even remember who was the quarterback for them because Bradshaw had retired by then. But you still had two great quarterbacks to contend with, three.
Mm.
Two of them came from the same team.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, let's finish out this schedule here real quick.
I think they could beat the Saints.
They can beat the Saints.
Jameis is not a cold weather person. He's not a cold weather quarterback. He's very shaky.
That's the middle of November. So, I mean, who knows what's going to happen there? Because they get the bye week the first week of November. And then
but it's still shaky. Even with Alvin Kamara, even with, Jarvis, possible Odell.
Yeah.
It's still a cold weather team you're coming to play. And if you're the Saints, and if you're Jameis, you've been shaky.
Your receivers know how to play in weather.
Yet your receivers aren't you, though.
Exactly.
And you're not a pound the rock team.
Exactly.
No.
You're okay. We got 10 yards on this play. Let's run and see how many yards we get on this play. The Bengals, if you haven't won the first game, you're not going to win.
That's the day after my birthday, so the Steelers better win.
Well, let's be honest. The Bengals swept the Steelers last year. Yeah. So my thinking is, if you're the Steelers, if you don't win the first game, you're not going to win this one.
Exactly.
Because by then, they'll be either heating up or they'll have the momentum. The Colts.
That's Monday Night Football.
Colts are not very good without Peyton on Monday night, so I will give that to the Steelers.
Falcons and
Matt Ryan's gone. Let's go Steelers.
Ravens, they're falling apart.
Even with them falling apart, they still got Lamar Jackson, but the Steelers seem to be the only team, as Ronnie so elegantly put this, the Steelers have been the only team so far to actually figure out how to play Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
So with that,
I give them the win.
I give them the win. You can
Panthers
throw Mason Rudolph
fire.
in and beat the Panthers.
Yeah. Raiders are going to be a tough one, and that's Monday Night Football.
I'm giving this one to the Raiders as much as I hate it.
Yeah,
that's true.
Derek Carr trumps Mitch and Kenny, even though Kenny's new to the game. He still trumps Mitch.
And Derek Carr has played in this area in the cold weather for the last 3 or 4 years straight.
And won.
Every single game.
So keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
You got Devontae, who used to play in Green Bay. He used to that cold weather too.
No, he's used to blizzards. That ain't fucking.
Oh, yeah, he was some extreme cold weather. It's different.
He's used to playing in sub-zero
ice age.
Right. It's gonna feel like 50 degrees for him.
You're gonna walk outside and see sub-zero outside.
You're like, oh, this is easy. Okay.
Come on, bro. You out here again? Like, damn, man. All right. The
You got
Ravens.
the Ravens again.
You can beat the Ravens again.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you split with the Ravens, you're still in good shape.
Yeah.
As long as you take care, and I hate to say this, because I know Ronnie's a Browns fan. I'm a football fan, so I'm looking at this from a divisional player standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
If you take care of those first 2 games
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning of the season, and you take a 2-game lead in the division, you should be okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So even if you split with the Ravens, you still took a 2-game lead, and everybody's trying to catch up to you.
Mm-hmm.
So even if they don't beat the Ravens this time, you still got a catch-up game
against the
Browns, which is by then, hopefully, the Browns will be respectable and the game will be flexed so everybody can see how the game looks for real, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So overall, I'll say 10-7.
For the Steelers?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take that.
I will say 10-7 because the schedule, the opening part of the schedule is favorable.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. As if you're an NFL team,
it's the back end of the season.
The back end is what kills you. The front end is where you need to do your damage. Because the back end, everybody's going to be, all right, we got our shit together. Mm-hmm. So get the front end first. And by the time you see sorry-ass Panthers, you see the Saints, you see the Ravens again, hopefully you've beat up Lamar Jackson to the point where he don't want to see y'all no more by the end.
Yeah.
Then you got something you can hang
and I do think that actually most of the AFC North does have a little bit of Lamar figured out, but
no.
But the Steelers haven't figured out the most.
No, and I think about this.
I mean, the Browns have split with the Ravens 2 years in a row.
You've split, but you haven't swept them, and that's important.
The Bengals are the only team that still get beaten on by the Ravens.
Exactly.
The last time the Browns swept the Ravens, I think, was Ray Lewis's last year.
Mm-hmm.
How long ago was that?
Man,
ain't he in the Hall of Fame? About to be?
Who, Ray Lewis?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. They're about to put a murderer in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, they put pimps in there, so it's different.
Hell yeah. But yeah, P-Rose can't get in for just betting on games.
Oh no,
we're not going there because I still got some mixed feelings on that.
Yeah, me too.
But for the Browns, I'm gonna go 11-6.
Oh, you have them going up against the Steelers again for the division?
It could go out. It could play out that way. It could, because you added another team, so there's now 7 teams in the postseason.
Ah, that's true. That's true.
This is why every game became important now, because now whoever is the top seed gets that bye week. Everybody else has to play. Remember, 3 years ago, before COVID hit, it was 6. So the top 2 got it.
Yeah.
You get to sleep your week away. Now, 17th game, 7th spot, your ass better be playing.
And do you think if this is successful and with the looming of the XFL and everything, do you think that they're going to try to fight for that 18th game?
No. Why would you? Here's the thing. I think this is what hurt the AFL, because the AFL played 18 games.
Mm-hmm. And
I think it hurt them in a sense because star players were getting hurt.
They would have to have another bye week too.
They had 2 bye weeks. Bye weeks.
Well, I'm talking about the NFL. They would have to add a second bye week.
They would have to. But in the terms of the AFL, star players were getting hurt. Mind you, the rosters in AFL are slimmer. You get a 24-man roster, 25-man roster. That's it. You could pull somebody off free agency, but that's it.
Uh-huh.
With the XFL and the USFL, excuse me, you don't need to do nothing that you don't already do. It ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Let them do what they do. The XFL before COVID had a great fucking product.
Oh man,
they had a great,
such good football.
Shout out to Joe Powell. Shout out to Joe Powell, because he's a good friend of the show, a good friend of mine. He was the guy that took the first kickoff back in XFL history. So think about that. They had a TV deal worth something that wasn't NBC. They had a plethora of players showing out week after week. They did nothing wrong this iteration. This iteration was real football.
And it was good football. Those games were awesome to watch.
The USFL is starting off slow, but they're producing a quality product game on a major channel.
Mm-hmm.
in a season.
And like I said, once NASCAR starts winding down and they move over to NBC, there's nothing to stop the
Exactly.
USFL.
True.
And then you said XFL's got who?
I think I think they're sticking with ABC and ESPN.
There you go. You got the mouse behind you.
Yeah,
So
you've got Disney.
So production quality is going to be
And you got The
perfect.
Rock. And The Rock is going to be willing to shell out as much money as it needs to keep this thing successful.
Mind you, keep in mind also, folks, XFL was purchased by a former football player. The Rock was a Miami Hurricane.
He was.
He was also a Calgary Stampeder up in Canada.
And his wife I'm sorry, she's not his wife, his ex-wife, Dan Garcia, who's his business partner.
There you go.
You know, she wants to see this thing succeed, and they are listening to every single thing that the XFL fans have been asking for this season. So anything that any of us that were XFL fans have said, we want to see this come back, we want to see this or whatever, Danny and Dwayne are listening to everything that the fans are saying.
True.
And Ronnie, I remember Ronnie texted me one day. He's like, dude, this game is actually, I think it was St. Louis and somebody else. He's like, this game is actually entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That 2020 season of the XFL was great.
It was. And I had no expectations. I was just happy to see it back.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, Vince is taking a back seat. He's got some football minds in here now instead of just him and Dick Ebersol.
And that's what he needed before that he didn't have.
Yeah.
And we weren't sure how the rule changes were going to work either. And it worked out great.
Yeah. And not only that, but I mean, that original incantation of the XFL
was wrestling.
Exactly. It was WWE 2.0 on a football field.
Oh, yeah. That was like NFL Blitz.
Exactly. I mean, but the other thing that I think that hurt the original XFL, and I mean, this is me as a fan of wrestling, but also as a fan of football. You're watching the XFL, and the very first image you see is The Rock.
Yeah.
And then you're hearing Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross,
who know nothing about football.
Well, Jim Ross does.
Jim Ross knows about Oklahoma football. Remind me of the last time you saw Jim Ross call a college football game.
True.
Or an NFL game.
And then you're hearing Jesse the Body Ventura.
Jesse knows football. Jesse knows.
He does.
Jesse know about everything. Jesse know how to kill the predator.
Right. But think about all those names I just said. All those names that I just said are associated with the WWE. They were not associated with football. So at this point, you have officially declared that this is WWF at the time byproduct.
Yeah.
That it meant nothing to you about the actual sport of football.
And the players meant nothing.
Exactly.
Now the players mean something. The coaches mean something.
Mm-hmm.
It's working out. And then you have a former football player / pro wrestler who worked it out.
Yes.
Because for those that are watching and don't think I'm lying, when you watch, okay. So I'm gonna close the show out like this. Name one NFL player that has played with The Rock or Dwayne Johnson. Excuse me.
You mean in college or?
Yes, in college.
Warren Sapp.
Who's the other one? They were all on the same team. I just saw a highlight.
It's funny you say that because I just watched Young Rock and it was on there too.
We just talked about him. We literally just talked about him.
Now I got to think about it. Dang it.
Ray Lewis.
Yeah, that's right. Because Ray came in after that.
Ray was a year behind, but they all played. Oh, while I'm thinking about it too, the answer to the trivia question that I asked earlier was name 3 NFL Hall of Famers who played in the USFL.
Only know one.
Who's your one?
Jim Kelly.
That's one.
I know none.
Reggie White. I'll give you 2 as a bonus. Doug Flutie. Steve Young.
I forgot that Steve Young.
I forgot about Flutie Young.
Yeah, a lot of people did because a lot of people saw them come over to the NFL and just light it up to a degree.
I remember hearing something that Doug Flutie was in the USFL originally.
He was a general.
Yeah.
He was a New Jersey general.
I only saw that 30 for 30 once, so I'd have to go back and watch it again.
You could literally, I promise you, I'm going to send it to you later. But there's a video, old 80s video called Pro Football Funnies. You see a lot of these same players,
mm-hmm.
on that tape.
Shoot, Doug Flutie played everywhere. That dude played in the NFL, the CFL, the USFL. Anybody that had an FL, that man played.
Exactly. If you got an FL, he playing.
He was there.
The OOFL,
Is Johnny Manziel becoming the next Doug Flutie?
hell no.
No.
He played in college.
What are you smoking?
I'm just being funny.
That
man.
ain't even funny. That's not even close.
But, all right, but think about it. He played in college. He played in the NFL. He played in the CFL, and now he's in the fan run league.
He will never have a career that Doug Flutie had.
I'm just saying.
You mean appearances like different leagues?
Exactly.
It still wouldn't matter because he appeared in 2 leagues, and 2 leagues kicked him out. Flutie never got kicked out of a league. Flutie got asked to come back.
True.
They wanted to keep him in all the leagues he played in.
Yeah, they didn't want him to leave.
Did you hear the story about Johnny reaching out to Vince, asking him if he could be in the XFL?
No, I didn't hear about that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
No.
Yeah, he reached out to Vince and he's like, I know I had a bad reputation with the Browns, but would it be possible for me to come into the XFL?
Let me think about that.
I know I'm not the guy you want, but you can reconsider.
Hey, look, man, I know we had some shit back in our day, but can we talk about this for a minute?
Right. I was young at one point, and I think I'm mature enough.
I went to college. I was doing dumb shit. Everybody in college was doing dumb shit.
Man, that's funny, man.
But Vince had that very strict policy about former players that they
He
needed
didn't want any former players.
Well, not just that, but that they needed to have 0 disciplinaries. They needed to have a clean record off the field.
So that's what that does to Johnny.
Right. I mean, Johnny didn't really get in trouble in the NFL, but his play was questionable at best.
He had that's disciplinary.
Right.
If you're a player, you know that's disciplinary.
And then, he had this situation, the domestic situation against his girlfriend.
That'll take you out right there.
And then you had the B&B situation.
And you know why Vince did that? Because he was trying to make this product as good as possible.
Exactly.
And you can't do that.
He took it seriously the second time around.
He was supposed to.
Right. He put Triple H and Stephanie in charge of WWE, which was probably the best thing he could have done at that time.
And then he got football minds to come back. Hey, look, I know I ain't always been your best friend, but I need you to do this for me. Knock this on out, because you know this better than I do.
And he stopped trying to compete against the NFL.
You weren't supposed to be competing against them to begin with. You playing in the spring, number one. Number two, your product was totally different.
Yeah.
Who runs to scramble for the ball?
That was cool, though.
That's dangerous.
It was dangerous, but it was cool.
You gonna rip your fucking arm out before the game goes on.
Oh, man.
That's like me trying to body slam Ronnie. Like, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And think I'm gonna actually do it with no problem. Like, come on, man.
As much as I would love for this conversation to continue.
No, we about to get out of here.
We got Lex Vegas going to be coming in here for a photo shoot.
Forget Lex, man. He don't even say hi to a brother, man. He come out, he sent me all the stuff. I sent him something I thought was funny. He ain't even responded yet, man. This is how he do black people, man. This
He do it to white people too, man.
I don't care, man. You shouldn't be doing it to anybody. And while I'm on the subject,
oh shit,
yeah, your ass need to go home and watch Semi-Pro and Talladega Nights. You need to watch those, man.
Fuck Will Ferrell.
This
man.
See, man, this is exactly why we can't never have nothing else. Please.
Hey, no, look, all right. So I was watching the Nostalgia Critic yesterday, right? And he was making fun of that 1998 Godzilla movie.
That was terrible.
I forgot how bad that movie was.
Matthew Broderick did everything he could to save that movie. Matthew Broderick did everything he could to save that movie, and that movie went absolutely nowhere.
No, that movie sucked.
Right.
I had forgotten how bad that movie sucked. I actually went back and watched it, and I turned it off halfway through.
No,
Look, everybody's watching now that we're getting off the air.
That's fine. You can go back and watch it later. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all of that. Follow us on Facebook. Like and follow us on Facebook. Like and subscribe to us on YouTube. We will be here next week. We do got some stuff we got to talk about as far as Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals, because I'm pretty sure we're getting set.
Yeah.
The draft aftermath, meaning what are these teams going to do in the NFL now that the draft is over? Many camps have been started. What have we heard? What have you heard? And we got some pro wrestling news coming up.
Damn it! I can't be here next week and we talking about pro wrestling.
Maybe we can remote you in. I don't know.
Dude, I'm going to be at a wedding. There's no way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Good luck with that, then.
And I'm in the wedding, so there's...
You know what? Better some earbuds.
Dude, if I wasn't a groomsman, I probably would try to get away with it. But I'm a groomsman, and the guy whose wedding I'm going to was the best man in my wedding.
Okay.
So
you locked down. That's it.
Okay, so to be fair, I'll do you one better. We will hold off on the pro wrestling talk.
Cool.
But for those watching and those that are going to rewatch this, got a question for you. If you were the GM of your favorite team, how would you run it?
Oh, man.
We will talk about that next week because some shit popped off with the Browns that nobody pays attention to, and he should get credit for this. So we'll talk about that next week. So before 15, that was Lee. I'm Mel. That's Smooth. Peace.